Hey, I wanted to say thanks to everyone who has studied with me this year and um, allowed me to work on your record, whether it be playing or doing some mixing or mastering. I really appreciate it. It's been a weird one, but uh, we have made some great stuff nonetheless. Um, but what I wanted to do is do a video since this is the year of talking at a camera. I figured I would continue with the tradition and talk at the camera about the records that I enjoyed listening to most this year. Um, so everything's in order, I think. Gonna start with the fake names record. I mean, like, Dennis Lixon, Michael Hampton, Brian Baker. What else do you want? Got to give a little shout out to my friends in the Static Age in Chicago for continuing to make great music. They turned me on to this band they did a split with. In the old days, you used to do splits so that two bands could afford to get their songs on vinyl and split the sides. And this is an interesting one because it's one song per each band on each side, probably due to time length constraints. And they turned me on to Love Equals Death, who are a California band who are a very good listen. Dan Reeder, if you don't know Dan Reeder, he is an Oh Boy Records artist. The late John Prine's label, who we sadly lost this year, but he is a fascinating songwriter. I challenge you to find someone who sounds like Dan Reeder, type of person who writes like about the most mundane shit and makes it super interesting. I was always familiar with Molly Tuttle as an amazing flat picker, but she did a covers record this year that's really worth your time. Matt Chamberlain plays drums on it. Enough said. This Cutworms record is just insane. Pat King turned me on to Cutworms initially years ago. This is a super long player, recorded in Memphis. It's really good. 2-song Descendants 7-inch that you gotta give a listen to if you haven't heard it yet. The audio restoration on this Monk record, I am considering this a 2020 release because it had never been released. This material had never been released up until 2020, so we're counting it. That's how I like to do it. Yeah, the restoration work on this is really fantastic. It was literally recorded at a high school auditorium with a janitor's tape recorder that was in the janitor's closet, and it's a very interesting document. Bob Mould's been on a tear. Every one of his records with Jason Narducci and John Worster are great, and this is no exception. Good 2020 record. Another good 2020 record, Jason Isabel and the 400 unit reunions, sort of a dark horse record, ended up being sort of apt for the year. Keeps getting better with age, as the good things do. Y'all know the story with Corky, if you know Discord Records. Some familiar faces on this one, recorded by Don Z. Bob Weston cut the lacquer for this. It sounds really, really good, and it's only like 15 or 16 bucks at your local record store. So get this. The Beths out of New Zealand, just a killer band. Wish they could have made it to the States this year, but this is a really fantastic record. I love the New Strokes. I love most Rick Rubin records. I love Ode to the Mets. New Costello is a really interesting listen. Super fascinating. He sort of does it all. He has a tendency to do that, but he doesn't really overreach on this one. Everything's pretty compactly sort of presented, and it makes for a really good listen over 2 discs. This dude, Logan Ledger at T-Bone Burnett production. Amazing voice, great songs. This, I believe, are the final recordings of Jason Molina that are known, that haven't been released. And if you know, you know. It's a sad record. It's really good. H.C. McIntyre put out another killer record on Merge. The sounds are amazing on this record. The playing is really good. Yeah, it's a very pleasing listen. It's really good. It digs in. I really like it. I'm not going to say anything about the new Fiona Apple record that hasn't already been said. You must listen to this record. Here's a Chris Hayes pick. Love the new Sparta record, Trust the River, put out by the fine folks at Dine Alone in Canada. Yeah, it's just kind of a Jim Ward record. I love his writing. I love Sleeper Car. If you like Jim Ward, you will like this record, undoubtedly. The fine folks in Gladdy in Philadelphia. Really awesome record that came out at the beginning of the year. Very good sounds on this. Great songs. This was a highly regarded one this year for good reason. Waxahachie, St. Cloud. It's the first one that I was really able to connect with properly. Great cast of characters on this. John Lowe mixing. Yeah, it's Josh Kaufman guitar and a bunch of arranging and stuff. It's really good. Holy smokes. This band, Daniel Romano's outfit, this band is on fire to the max. Unfucking believable band. These records are so good. Scott Scheringer turned me on to these initially. Yeah, just awesome. This might be the best sounding record of the year. The Hives live at Third Man, direct to acetate, as all the Third Man sessions are. Yeah, it doesn't get any better than this. This band knows what they're doing. They're the best. This is so good. Oh, okay. I got a few here. This is a band that I got into this year too. I don't know how to pronounce their name, I'll be honest. I think it's Krungbin or something like that. But I heard this one on in Rough Trade in Brooklyn, and I was like, that's Leon Bridges, but who is that band that is just killing it behind him? This is the band. This is not a 2020 release. This was reissued in 2020 with the alt cover art, which was a really nice touch. We love a good 45. Yeah, these records are just amazing. This band and their producer, his name is escaping me at the moment. It might be on the back of one of these. I don't think it is, but he's produced, I think, most, if not all, of their stuff. Someone will tell me who knows more than I do. And he just gets like unbelievably good sounds. It's all digital, but it sounds like super analog, which is great. That's the sweet spot. This Alice Bowman record is amazing, from Sweden. It's very atmospheric and just like a blanket. It's just great. The lacquers were cut at a place in the UK called Exchange Vinyl that does like just awesome work. This sounds so good. You know, EU import. That's worth tracking down. The new Laura Marling is insanely good. Some of her best writing. Ethan John's producing, and he usually plays drums, and it's so good. It sounds incredible. John Moreland, we're getting toward the top here. Top few here. John Moreland, I'm just a huge fan of his writing. He is truly one of the great writers of my generation. And LP5, another awesome record. He never quite seems to put out the same record twice, but they all fit very nicely in his umbrella, so to speak. Okay. Number 2. This record's insane. Bob Dylan. Yeah, I mean, he's just like, his records in the 2000s are all so good. It's just insane. I don't know what to say. I mean, you've probably heard Murder Most Foul. It was talked about a lot. Listen to this record. The layout's a little weird. It's a Columbia record, so the pressing is Columbia, but this is my most listened to record of the year. It's the best record since Magic, no question. Might be the best since The Rising, might be the best since Tunnel of Love. I don't know if any of you want to come to blows with this, but like this record is it's great. We needed this record this year for sure. Those are my new releases of 2020, and then I've also got, these are my favorite reissues of 2020. Run Out Groove did an expanded Spend the Night by the Donnas. It sounds way better than the original. Black Belt did the mastering on this. It sounds really good. All the bonus stuff is a lot of fun. If you love the Donnas, you probably do. You should get this version. Yoshimura, this was long awaited. Light in the Attic sort of documents this era, this 80s era of Japanese new age and ambient. Like, I mean, they're the reason why I fell in love with this stuff. It's so good. Okay, and a couple of box sets. This is not my favorite Wilco album. However, this deluxe is the best deluxe they've done to date, and that may have changed things for me. This is a discussion we can get into offline, as they say, but this is really well done. You need to get this Summer Teeth box. Put that here, and then of course this is the best box of the year. This has been a long awaited project. Long awaited project. This is the 9 LP 180 gram, because that's what I had to do. I don't like a shelf hog like this, but this was a must-have for me. Chris Bellman did the mastering. It's just it doesn't get any better. It sounds so good. If the Hives was the best sounding release, this is the second, or 1A or whatever. This just sounds so good. And even this, the stuff, a lot of stuff cut from digital. It's just like the record is an analog master, but the bonus stuff's cut from digital. It all sounds so good. And then we'll finish up with, since there were how many RSDs this year? 4 RSDs. These were my favorites from the record store days. A little bit of controversy behind this one. We really miss Adam Schlesinger. It's so sad that we lost him this year. This was a major label thing that another label licensed to put out. Chris Collingwood said that he wasn't. Chris Collingwood rather said that he wasn't aware of this, getting released. Yeah, that's just sort of what happens with major label masters sometimes. It sucks that the industry can't be fair and just. However, from a listener's standpoint, this is so much better than the Super Squash Digital Master, that came out in the height of the Loudness Wars. And if you're a fan of Fountains of Wayne, you must get this. It's really good. It's a great listen. Zev Feldman at Resonance does a whole series of, getting classic jazz artists unearthing stuff that hasn't been released. And he literally it's a nonprofit label, and they literally search the world for this stuff. So this Bill Evans stuff with Jack DeJohnette on drums, Eddie Gomez on bass it's a real treat. It sounds so good. I think Kevin Gray cut this. Yeah, Kevin Gray did the master. He's the best in the biz. Doesn't get any better than that. Pressed it. RTI. This is what you want to look for stuff like this. This was a European live Ron Carter put out by this label, In and Out, who I hadn't heard of before, and they did such an unbelievably good job with this. It sounds incredible. It's a treat. It's a treat. Ron Carter is one of the greatest of all time. And finally, this is really cool. This is a Craig Finn compilation of alternate versions, outtakes, and stuff from his last 3 solo records, which were all great. This was a lot of fun. Some are just demos with him and Josh Kaufman. Really a great listen over 2 discs. Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I listened to in 2020. I listened to a lot more, but those are my favorites. Yeah, if you made it this far, you might be a bigger dork than me. Be good.